Welcome to Fredo. So just begin to relax, and we're going to begin with a small meditation followed by the Journey of Fredo poem. So just begin to relax yourself and get settled. And if you need to move or adjust yourself at any time, feel free. And I just invite you to close your eyes and begin to observe your body sensations, your breathing, and any thoughts that may or may not come into the mind. Just gently scan through your body from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. Simply observing, noticing any feelings, any sensations that may arise in any one of your body organs or parts of your body. Notice if there's any tension or any relaxation. And as you continue to breathe, you can now expand your awareness out into the room or the space that you're in. Just noticing the temperature of the air on your skin and any sounds around. Just continuing to breathe comfortably as your awareness expands out into the town that you live in or your surrounding area. Just observing how that feels. As your attention expands further still out into the world, into the whole world. Noticing the atmosphere, the feelings in the world, with all its people, animals, plants, different races and religions, different age groups, physical abilities, different cultures. Just noticing and observing the world. Maybe your attention goes to one particular country or culture. Or perhaps nothing, just a feeling. And as you continue to breathe comfortably, expand your awareness now out into the universe. The infinite universe of ever-ending space. Just notice the atmosphere, the energy of the universe. And you can just float around for a while. You can float around the universe as long as you want. Notice how that feels. Maybe you'll go somewhere, or maybe you'll stay in one place. And when you're ready, in your own time, you can gently begin your journey back into the world, back into the town, back into your space, and finally returning back into your body. once again noticing your breathing, noticing any thoughts, and noticing any body sensations. And while you're in this particular state, I'm going to read out the Friedo Journey. It's a poem, The Journey of Friedo. Something stirs from deep inside. It twists and turns 1,000 times. It pulls and stretches into shape. A figure shows and moves around. A hand supports it from below until it feels and begins to grow. Building blocks are put in place until the figure is nice and safe. The figure starts to create its own, from light and darkness, vibrating tone. Birth and death begin to rise. The figure splits to compromise. The figure then creates some space. Now life and death begin their race, until the space has found a way to stabilize and have its say. Space creates a home for all, the separation of large and small, of water, fire, earth and air, weight and lightness, cold and brightness, pain and sorrow, love and joy. Out of this space comes girl and boy. The figure has journeyed through time and space, feeling as though it has won the race, looking around only to find a universe of an amazing kind. The training's been tough, it's been testing and rough. The figure is ready, it's complete and steady. Back to the source, the figure must run, for now the journey has just begun. Hey, welcome to Friedo, Game of Life. We're going to be working with this card today, Birth. And as you can see on the card, it's the green triangle at the bottom, the green chakra, the heart chakra. We've got this character. This is you birthing your word, because you're going to be working with a word on this journey. I hope you've chosen one. If not, choose a word that you want to work with, whether that's love or money or a person's name or relationship, health, wealth, addiction, phobias, whatever your word is, confidence. And this is you birthing that word here. And over here is a little plant-like character, and this is actually what you're birthing, which is your divine feminine power in this word. This is where the birth comes from. So if you, I'll invite you to close your eyes as I read the reading of the card. So if you take a couple of nice breaths and just settle into yourself. Okay, so this is the birth of your divine feminine, who nurtures, heals, and protects with her love. Embrace and express her energy into your life. Creation cannot exist without birth. It's the point when something is ready to enter our physical world. Birth is where our passion becomes strong enough to manifest. This is a rebirth for you, a new start, a chance to do things the way you want, a new beginning of something that could be amazing for you in ways of magic and enchantment. In order to birth, we need to keep pushing, just like a mother birthing her baby. For example, if we want to birth money, think about all the things you love about money. Then think about the things that you love about those things. So, for example, I love that money can buy me a car. And I love that a car can give me more freedom to go places. And I love going to different places to inspire me. By doing this, you're affirming and strengthening your ability to create. So when you're ready, have paper and pen in hand, and I want you to write down at the top of the paper your word, which is your symbol for today's journey. Okay, whatever word you've chosen for today, so your personal word. And I want you to give yourself a percentage. Are you a master of that word? So if you've chosen money, are you a master of money? You know if you're a master of money. If you've chosen love, you know if you're a master of love, because it will be under your control in your life. So where are you? If you've chosen something like fear, if you were the master of fear, fear wouldn't be a problem for you, because you'll be a master of it. So decide where you are. 100% would be you're a master, a grand master of your word. So once you've got your percentage, I want you now to think of a person to represent your word symbol. So think of a person and write them down. Write down 1 or 2 or 3 different people who can represent your symbol. If you've chosen money, you might represent somebody who is a role model, who's really more of a master of money, a famous business person, or somebody, the Queen, somebody who's maybe got a lot of money, something like this, who represents money. And now once you've got a few people written down, circle the one, it could be somebody as well, who is living or dead, and fictional or non-fictional. So it could be a cartoon character who's like super rich if it was money, or it could be, a fairy tale character if it's love that you've chosen, Prince Charming or Cinderella, or it could just simply be your next door neighbour, could be a childhood friend, somebody at school, someone who represents your word for you as a role model. And I want you to circle the one of them who you have the most respect for, who you like the most. Out of all the people you've written down, which one of those do you like the most, or have you most respect for? And circle that one person. Now, once you've got that one person, think of the main one part of their character or part of their personality that stands out the most. So is it that they're confident? Is it that they're loving? Is it that they're empathic? Is it that they're accepting? Is it that they're powerful? So what is it? What's the one word you could describe them in, their strongest part of their personality that comes out? And I want you to choose that word now. That word, I'm going to call it an element. So just that word. And I'm going to ask you now to choose an object to represent that word you've just chosen now, that part of that person, that personality, character, and just choose an object you can have with you. It could be a stone, a necklace, a feather, whatever it is, so that you can connect to that particular personality type. So not the person, but the actual part of the person, the character that you've chosen. Choose an object to represent that character. Hold the object, and I'm going to ask you to answer some questions. And the first question is, like, who are you? And what I want you to answer is, whatever part of that character you chose, is it confidence, is it joy, is it love? That's who you are right now. So you're kind of tuning into that energy. So who are you? Are you love? Are you joy? So just repeat the element, the part of the personality you've chosen, the character. What's positive about this part? That's the first question. What's positive about this part? And either speak it out to me or write it down. And then, what's positive about that, what you've just told me? What's positive about what you just told me now? So the first question is what's positive about this part, and the second question is what's positive about what you've just said. And now again, what's positive about what you just said now? And again, what you've just said, what's positive about that? So you're building up the positives. We're going deeper into positive. Okay, so for example, if I chose the character, let's say Mother Teresa was the person, because I'm looking at love. Love is my word symbol, so I'm going to use Mother Teresa as one of my people, who's a role model for me, who represents love. And then I'm going to look at her main character. What is it about her? She's, I would say, empathic. She has a lot of compassion and empathy. So I'm going to use, I'll use compassion. She's compassionate. So compassion is going to be the word that I'm going to work with. What's positive about compassion? Is it that you can understand? I can understand somebody through compassion. And now what's positive about understanding somebody? I can find a solution for that person. If I can understand them, I can find a solution. And what's positive about finding a solution is that we can create something good, something harmonious. We can grow. There can be some growth from it. So this kind of idea. Once you've finished that, I want you to now I want to ask you, what advice would you give someone? So as this particular character that you're still in, this word, this energy, so I'm going to be compassion. What advice would I give someone as compassion? What advice would you give someone as your character? So as compassion, I might advise somebody to, really listen and understand somebody's viewpoint. Actually validate their viewpoint rather than arguing with it or going against it, is by actually listening and giving them space just to be heard and to try and understand their viewpoint. So what advice would your character give? And finally, what else would you like to share as this character? So me as compassion, I'd just like to share that it's really nice to just be allowed to hear people, allow people to share their opinions, their feelings, without judging them, without taking over or making them wrong. And now you can come out of that, you can put your object down and just notice how you feel about that experience. Have a feel into it. How do you feel about that experience? And if there's anything else you would like to share now as yourself, You can share it, you can write it down. Okay, take as long as you need. If you need to pause the video to process that, you're welcome. And when you're ready, we're going to come on to the next part, which is the body activation. We're going to be doing something called birth push. As we know, to push something into reality, to manifest something, we need to have this energy of push. So while we're feeling and connecting to our chosen character again, so again, you can pick up your object, you can retune in to the character. So I'm going to be back on compassion again. So just tune into your character and do something that's going to be a little bit challenging in a pushing way. So maybe you're going to do a push up on the floor, pushing your body up, or pushing a heavy door. So we're practicing this feeling of pushing, physically pushing something, while we're connecting to our character. So for me, as compassion, I'm going to feel compassion as I'm pushing, as I'm doing my push-ups or pushing something away. I'm going to be connecting to compassion. So connect to your chosen character as you're pushing. And this is just to activate that energy that we've been working with, this pushing energy in our body. We're going to complete with a ritual, a Frito ritual called Birth Breath. And if you've got a Frito, a Frailer, which is like a Frito inhaler, like a little bag, we drop a little bit of Frito essence in it. Don't worry if you haven't. You can use that. Otherwise, we're just going to go through this birth breath technique. So I want you to just start to breathe through your mouth. And as you're breathing through your mouth, I want you to just put your focus on your out breath more than your in breath. So don't think about your in breath. Try and just think about your out breath if you can, as much as you can anyway. Of course, you're going to be breathing in, but your focus and attention is more on the out breath. And now once you've got that focus on the out breath, you can play a little bit with your breath, so you can breathe a little bit faster. You can try. Again, keeping your focus on your out breath. And you can also practice breathing slow. And just focusing on the out breath. This doesn't mean your in-breath is going to be shorter or longer or anything. You're just focusing, you're breathing normally, but just with your attention on your out-breath, that's all. And you can also practice breathing more deeply. So maybe breathe as far out as possible. And you can allow your breath to come in as far as you want. But again, focusing your attention on that out-breath. And you can become even more creative, and you can do little tiny short breaths. So when you come to the end of your out breath, for example, you can do tiny little in and out breaths at different speeds, fast or slow or anywhere in the between. Then, if you want, you could do it the reverse. You could breathe right in as high as you can, take as much oxygen in as possible, and then do very, very short breaths when you get to the top of your breath. And you can continue playing around with your breath techniques, but again, the key is to keep your attention on the out breath, always on the out breath. But you're welcome to be creative with how you breathe, whether it's fast or slow, short or long, random. And when you're finally finished, you can continue. You can always pause the video and continue for a while. But when you're ready to finish, take your final breath out. So your final push. So push your breath out as far as possible and hold it as long as you can at that point until you can't hold it anymore. And you then have to gasp your breath in. And that's kind of like a baby coming out, and it can't breathe right inside the mother's womb. It's in water, and it's kind of we're pushing, the mother's pushing the baby, pushing, and when it finally comes out, it finally takes that first breath of life. And that's what you'll do when you finally you can't hold your breath anymore. You just gasp it in, and it's like the baby. It's when you first came into this world. You take that first breath of your whole life, bursts into your body. And you can just release, and you can rest and just embrace yourself, just as you would a baby as it comes out and it's birthed for the first time. You would take the baby and you'd hold that baby and you'd embrace it, and it would rest in your arms. You can do that to yourself. And when you're ready, remember we do these rituals. This is a mini ritual. So we do these full rituals. We do the birth breath ritual. It's a 45-minute ritual that we do online with groups in person, or you can access it through the website on videos. And I'll be with you for the whole 45 minutes, guiding you through this beautiful ritual. We've just done sort of a few minutes. It's very, very powerful. I'd encourage you to do it more regular. So what have you learnt? Write down what you've learnt today from your journey. Anything that comes to mind. What's a learning you can take from your journey today? And once you've written that learning down, make it shorter. Make it as short as possible, 4 or 5 words. Keep it clear, one simple message, what you've learned today, your key learning. You can make it long to start with, but shrink it right down eventually. Look at it, get rid of words you don't need in there, change it so it simplifies. And then eventually turn that into an affirmation learning of 3 words or 2 words, or no more than 2 or 3 words. It's an affirmation, so you're going to turn it into like you're doing it already. You've already got it. You're not telling me what you've learnt, you're telling me you are doing it. You've already learnt it, and now you're telling me that you are it. So if you've learnt something about love, you may say, I am love, or I am birthing. Or if it's something that you want to birth, like joy, you might say, yeah, I'm birthing joy, or I am joy. This kind of thing. And eventually, now I want you to finally give yourself a test, a practice, a demonstration, an action, something you can do to test yourself, to prove that that learning affirmation is true. It's no good just saying it. You've got to go and do something to prove it. And that will prove it to the body. The body will then know it. It will know it. It will get it. So have a think about what you can do. One thing that you can do to prove. You're going to phone someone, or you're going to go and do some action. You've got to go and do something specific. If I could say go and do it now, you could do. Or tomorrow, you could actually go and do it, and it would make sense to you. You'd know exactly what you're going to go and do. So don't make it too kind of flaky or airy. Make it very specific. And to complete our journey today, we're just going to give ourselves a percentage, again, of how well you know your original word, the word symbol you've chosen for this journey. So what's your original word? What percentage are you going to give yourself? Do you now know more? Do you now know less? Do you know the same about that word? Have you learnt anything different? Doesn't matter if the percentage is lower, higher, the middle. Just feel into it. What's the number that's right for you? Measure yourself. No one else measures us for us. We do it ourselves. That's where the power is. So I hope you enjoyed this journey today. So remember, all the readings in Frido are free. So feel free. We've got journeys you can do as like this one. Come and do some rituals. The rituals are terrific. They're doing daily rituals. They're like really deep, active meditations, and they'll further activate and increase the energy you want to work with. And come on one of our retreats. Check our website. We do retreats all around the world, Frido retreats. And you can have some sessions. We've got live webinars all the time going on every week. Join one of those if you like. Become a trainer. Become a reader, a Frido reader. You can go and do readings, or become a guide, and you can do these full journeys for people. Make it a business. Whatever it is, if you need any support, get in touch. And until then, see you soon. And remember, keep living the dream.